It's the 8th of May, and we're talking about the next gen console wars, the next gen Intel chip, Nintendo's big hit, and Musk Madness. This and more on PHTech.
Hello,
Hello.
everyone.
Hey!
Hello.
We are back.
Good evening,
Yeah.
everybody. Or if you're in Canada, where Ken is, good morning.
Yes.
What time is it there, Ken?
It is now 7 a.m.
7 a.m.
I didn't know there was sun in Canada. I was,
So-
I always
so-
thought it was like
actually,
cloudy.
it's actually been very sunny the last couple of weeks. Like during this most of the whole COVID like
Excuse me.
that's what because during this whole
Maybe
COVID thing,
sneeze.
it's been extremely sunny. For anyone who doesn't know, like Vancouver's normally very gray most of the year. But yeah, just weird that when you can't go outside too much, that's when it's extremely nice.
Hmm.
Anyways,
But you can go out, right?
yes, we didn't really lock down like how other places have, but yeah, definitely restaurants have been closed and it's been discouraged going out, but not like you won't get fined or anything. Like I think back home, you guys were right, Marco. You need like a pass or something to
Yeah.
get out.
Yeah, you need a pass. Barangay pass.
Ooh,
Oh.
full screen.
So
It's me. Woo.
Yeah. So, guys, I kind of went through hell early this morning because of well, my computer kind of messed up. So, take it, guys.
I think you need a new 10th gen Intel.
I'll
So
talk
first
about
in
what
the
happened to mine.
news.
Hang on, Miko. I'm not yet done. You guys
Oh,
talk
sorry. I
first.
thought that was it.
No,
Hello.
not yet, not yet.
the segue.
Sorry.
Hey, why are you so quiet?
I don't know.
What's going on?
I don't know
I'm
what's
still
going
fixing
I did
on.
this.
the. I already did the segue, and then you
I'm
told
not
me
yet.
not yet.
Yeah, I said I'm not yet ready. I said go. See, hang on.
Oh,
Go small talk.
Yeah, go
Oh,
talk
Well,
first.
Byron from Facebook chat thread. He says it's 10 a.m. where he is, and I see that Dax has joined us tonight. Hello. How about over at in our YouTube stream, Marco?
absolutely nothing.
oh, is Marco our YouTube correspondent at the moment?
Yes, yes, he is. And Iggy, I think he. Do you know Iggy? Iggy Trinidad.
Yeah.
Says
He's
same Marco.
Yeah, I think he's
he's
on Marco's other podcast, right?
Mad Cat. Mad Cat
Mad
Midnight.
Cat.
Hello, hi Iggy.
Yeah, I watched last time. That was a very interesting show. Fun
Thank
to
you.
watch always with John Joe and you and Iggy.
Oh, and Jackie says
Um,
hi on YouTube.
Hey
Hey,
Jackie.
Jackie,
Okay, so Miko, you
are
can
we?
do your thing again.
I can do the really bad segue. So number
Yes,
one,
that's
it's
it.
PS5 versus Xbox. Yeah.
There we
Okay.
go.
Can take it away.
I'm sure most of you are aware that PS5 and the Xbox Series X are coming out later this year. Release date is roughly holiday season 2020. So for all you console fans out there, start saving up. Um, yeah, lots to discuss about these two. Have any
Sorry
of
about
you
the.
been following the news? I mean, none of us here really are. Or no, Miguel is kind of a console guy, aren't you, Miguel?
Not anymore. Since I got the PC, the kids have been using the PS4, and the only thing they really like to
Mm-hmm.
play is Tekken and Just Dance.
And I'm sure you're having fun whooping them in Tekken.
No, that's K. That would be K.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
K kicks my ass on
Stress
Tekken
relief.
because she just smashes all the buttons and comes up with random things that kill me.
That works for me
I
too.
I
But
feel
that's
like
how
that's
you
the
win
thing to
in
do with Tekken.
everything.
That's how, yeah. Except for Super Smash. Anyways, which is the champion of all fighting games, in my opinion. But going back to PS5 and Xbox, I guess let's start with just the basic, the classic issue of which one's more powerful. Everyone, I mean, from the specs and everything that's been released so far, the Xbox looks like it's going to win the horsepower race, which hasn't been always the end all be all of consoles, right? For me, the main point of the PlayStation's slight superiority over the years is the exclusives. Uh, in my opinion, they've had the better exclusives and they have that bigger fan base, which is why generally they sell more through the years. Not that Xbox is not successful, but if you look at the numbers, the PS is normally up there. But yeah, so power wise, the Xbox is pretty much confirmed to be more powerful. Um, and just more they're both AMD based, I think, the GPUs. Marco, I don't know if you've looked into that at
Mm.
all, which is interesting. But again, going back to the exclusive, I think that's what's gonna really win out more. Decide the fate of both actually. Um, on the flip side, I think exclusives are going to slowly die out, which is the next point of this, because I was looking at the exclusive for both, and there's not many that are actually exclusive. Either it's going to start with one of them and then eventually move on to the other platforms, or just at launch it's going to be on everything. Of the titles that they're like sort of pushing, the only thing I can see that's literally just for Xbox, and I'm probably missing a couple, but Chorus, which I only found out about yesterday, but it looks like a Mass Effect-ish kind of game, and it is the only thing that's just Xbox only. Everything else, let's have a quick run through: Halo Infinite, Cyberpunk 2077, Dirt 5, Scorn, Madden 2021, Vampire Bloodlines 2, or some of the titles they're pushing for launch. But like all of those except for Chorus are either on all the platforms, including PC, or Xbox and PS. So like again, I feel like the exclusives are going to die out, which means maybe the power, which one's more powerful, will become the more important thing, or which controller you like more, which brings me to my next part about this. The next gen is the controllers. Marco has some opinions, I feel, about both.
Uh,
Or
is that the PS5? I thought you had that whole white
this is
thing.
it is. This is just a rendering from some guy because I couldn't find a nice video. It's not a review, but it will come up in a bit. The white version. I actually like it. I actually like
I
the new
no.
PS5 because I don't like I I don't get the resistance to change for the current PS5 controller from PS1 to 4. It's been basically the same. They just added the analog sticks and made it nicer here and there, made it wireless, made it this and that. But the general shape, I feel, it's always been a bit too small.
Yeah,
I
the
didn't like
prongs
where the
were
analog.
not ergonomic at all, was it?
Exactly. Especially once we got a taste of how the Xbox did things,
Mm,
which I still prefer. But I really like that they changed, in my opinion. Color fine. They're probably going to come out with a black version if that really bothers you. But I like that they changed it, made it a bit more boomerang, and I think it's fantastic. And the features that come with this thing, I think are really nice, like haptic everything, and there's a built-in mic, and it just feels like a more feature-packed thing rather than the previous ones. But yeah, you think it's ugly.
Wait,
the white
is
one. The
this
white one is extremely ugly.
So it's
is this
just the color.
rendering?
Yeah.
Is this render
No,
actual? Is that what it's
the
gonna look
no
like?
the no the PS itself it has not been released.
Okay.
PS5 how it looks like it, but the controller that's very close to what we're gonna see, and that's based on unofficial photos that's been released so far. But yeah, I really like it. I'm curious to actually hold it, because people say it's a bit bigger, or people are guessing, speculating it's a bit bigger, which I think it's a good thing. Of course, not don't go too big, but just a little bit. Just I don't know. I just felt it was too dainty. The old PS controllers. Not to say they're bad. I know there's like everyone thinks, or there's a huge fan base for that, and lots of people are gonna be upset for sure. I get that. On to the Xbox side of controllers, though, it looks like a kind of like a budget version of the Xbox Elite from last year. Remember the Xbox Elite controller, which I really
That was
wanted?
so expensive, though.
It was
The
too way
for controller.
crazy
Yes,
expensive.
way expensive.
No, it wasn't last year, was it? Probably older now. But yeah, it's crazy expensive, and I think it's a very evolutionary change. It's very familiar, but again, I think that there was not much wrong with the old controller. So if my trusty 10-year-old Xbox 360 controller finally kicks the bucket, I'm probably gonna switch to this thing. What do you
Yeah.
think, Marco?
Yeah,
I
actually,
I think
what was that?
I'm surely gonna be um the different one right now in terms of with my opinion, because I really find I find it easier to have the joysticks on both thumbs in the same space. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I find the Xbox kind of weird because on one side, I mean on the upper left of your left hand is the joystick, and then on the lower right is the the pad, the D-pad, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
then on your other hand, the joystick is on the lower left, and then the upper right is where the buttons are. I I, I just I think my brain gets confused. Um, you know, Marco.
I don't know. That
What?
kind of sounds very boomer.
I don't know, dude. It
Did
could
Marco
be.
just call Miguel a boomer?
Yes, he
No,
just did.
but it could be. It could be. I don't know if
Technology confuses.
I don't know if there are many people who have the same thoughts, but I just find that if I move my fingers this way, they should be the same thing, like both joysticks.
Hmm.
I don't know. It might just
I,
be me.
I, I, on the other hand, don't think the Xbox controller is no longer the most comfortable. I prefer the Switch Pro controller now. It's just feels so nice in the hand. Like it's nice, solid. The haptics are so good, like well beyond what the other controllers have. The only problem is the analog triggers. They're just they're not really analog. They're just buttons on the triggers. So it's kind of crap.
That it's really interesting to see which are most comfortable. It's used to like Miguel. I think was more used to PS1, 2, 3 compared to
Yes.
at that time I was into Xbox, the original, the OG Xbox, and Marco's always been a Nintendo boy. So it's funny how we're like, no, this I feel the most comfortable because it's what we're used to from 15, 20 years ago, and I guess that's how that's understandably that's how you decide on which one is your preferred controller, really what you grew up with. But again, whatever you're most comfortable with, I feel I'm on the Xbox side, but I do like seeing improvements from the other side of the fence. Basically, if PS5 starts making improvements, and well, I actually haven't touched the Switch controller yet, Marco, so I can't
You can
have an
touch
opinion on that.
mine.
But sure, when I visit, want to kick your
I'm,
ass in
I'm looking at the
Super
chat
Smash.
on YouTube right now, and Rene. So earlier we were talking about the exclusive games, right? I think
Yeah.
Rene's asking about Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Is
I
that
That's
is
gonna
that
haven't
an
be on
exclusive?
really
on
looked on
everything.
it.
Oh, it's on
That's gonna be
everything.
on everything.
And then
I know it's on
yeah,
PS5 and Xbox. I'm not sure. I think on PC as well. So it's one of those every again. I had a hard time finding something that's like literally exclusive for
you know what?
PS5. They haven't really released everything yet. So
Yeah, speaking of which, I wanna I wanna backtrack a little bit. I think that's my problem with deciding on whether to get an Xbox or not. I already have a PC, and the
I can give you a
Xbox.
reason why.
What's up?
One fantastic reason why. I hear it's the only way we can actually get Game Pass in the Philippines.
Oh,
That is a really good
yeah,
reason. In
that's
in
pretty
fact, that
huge.
pretty much cements the Xbox as my next console.
Wait, but isn't there a way we can get Ken to buy us some sort of a?
Yeah, Ken, log on as me on Xbox and get me or prepaid cards. I don't know how it works, but people
Because
have had success with uh, getting an Xbox One and getting a Game Pass on it. I
okay,
think it's a really good deal.
so if anyone's watching knows how to get around this thing, please let us know. Yeah. Also, Rene said Nintendo wins with their games. No need for power.
yes, that's. I feel like they
Yeah,
were kind of forced
I really agree.
into that niche, which they're doing really well. Yeah, having these games that I desperately want to play as well, but like I can't afford to buy like so many consoles. But yeah, Nintendo. That's why I'm happy Marco's there as my Nintendo boy, and
Yeah.
that sounds
So
awkward,
Miko's
but
Miko's husband has a
Mm,
PlayStation, right? But I
yes.
notice he's always on his Switch. It's he's just always on his Switch. So
It's
it's,
it's
I
the
guess
same
that's
thing
really
with me.
valid.
I I bought a PS4 for Red Dead Redemption 2, which I regret now because it came out on PC. And I played Spider-Man. I enjoyed it, but all the others, I'm like, oh yeah, my brother bought me a couple of games, and I'm just like, uh, tamad to set it up. But the Switch is so accessible. I
Yeah,
mean,
It's
and
it's
I
there's
don't
always
know.
that.
with
I don't know
you.
if he's using the same just switch, but he plays it in that, little screen, or he flashes it on, our TV, but it's the same game.
Yeah.
So I
yeah,
don't know how that works, but yeah,
that
that's how he
tracks.
does it.
When I visited you guys last, Nico, we didn't touch the PS4 at all. We were just on the Switch the entire time when we were bored and wanted to play some stuff. So yeah, they have that advantage for sure of just making it so easy to play and just sit down and have fun rather than overthink things like what Marcus said, the setup and everything.
Hey,
But
so
going back
speaking of
to
Nintendo, no, we're going back. Okay, we're going back. Would have been a good
uh,
segue. Fine,
that
we're
was
going back.
that was a really good segue. I'm sorry that I had to steal your thunder. But last thing about the next gen is SSDs being the focus, which I find pretty cute. Being a part of the PC master race, they're touting SSD as like this is revolutionary, and we're like, bitch, please, you've had this for like a decade. uh, have our fun making fun of the console just catching up to SSDs now. It is still really good. I'm excited to see. Wait here, Marco and Miguel. Do you remember the first time you booted up? What was your first SSD on PC? Because it was a game changer for me.
Oh yeah.
Definitely.
Far.
That was
In
when I
fact,
started saying console plebs.
It
yeah.
it
No,
felt
in
like a
fact,
difference of dial up to DSL broadband.
no. In fact, if anyone out there has like an old PC, maybe even I don't know, 7 years, 7 8 years, um, if it just so happens to have an SSD slot, just use it. I promise you, it's like a brand new computer after that.
Yes, and
Yeah.
Yes.
so yeah, like having that experience, and having made fun of console gamers a little bit, I'm excited to see them like really see the difference now when they get their first PS5, when they unbox it and boot it up, and Xbox Series X, and see how ridiculously fast it is. Like load times are nothing because it's basically like very close to the speeds of RAM, and it's exciting to see like how game developers are going to really take advantage of that when almost everything's going to be SSD now. So yeah, console gamers holiday season, you'll see the difference that SSD makes, and it's ridiculous.
Julio Blanco on the chat in YouTube is saying Animal Crossing is the best.
And there goes my segue. So apparently, Nintendo has made so much money mainly from Animal Crossing. And here, okay, I have to admit, I have never played Animal Crossing.
What?
I have never seen. I've never seen it, but I always hear about it. Everybody's talking about Animal Crossing.
It's
So
so good.
so you play it. Okay, so apparently it made $3.3 billion in operating profit for the fiscal year ended in March. So that's 41% surge from a year ago, and its highest in 9 years.
Wow.
And so this Animal Crossing, and when I read further, apparently this is like, can I say second generation? Because this is not the first time Animal Crossing came out. This is like the second one. This is New Horizon. So this sold more than 13 million units of the game in its first 6 weeks of release. Okay, so because there was so much demand, they even ran into supply issues with the Switch recently, due to factory shutdowns because of the whole lockdown and everything, and all these component shortages. So
Jacqueline Loss says this is like the fourth or something.
oh, okay, because I only know what I read was Animal Crossing was 2001, and then this one, Animal Crossing New Horizons, was done in March 2020. So maybe there were stuff in between. Yeah. Thank you, Jackie.
Oh,
Um,
and
and then Mhm.
we have an artista in the audience watching right now. I'm sure you
Where?
know who
We,
it is.
we, we.
Sino yan? Hi
Uh,
naman dyan.
yeah, Mr. Sid Lucero is watching.
Hi,
Yeah.
hi,
Hello.
hi.
Ano yan?
What do you call
Facebook
this?
or YouTube?
On YouTube.
Uh,
Hey, so I've never played this game. What is it about?
You should. You should.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
old
Mark,
timer
give us
here
a
wants
quick
to understand.
rundown.
Yeah, Marco, please
There's
tell us
nothing to
about it.
understand. You
Somebody said it's like Sims. Is that true?
no Sims is so one-dimensional.
Wow, he's so offended. So tell
I
us,
mean,
Marco, what makes
I,
it
I
what
mean,
makes it good? What makes it unique?
I love the interactions with your friends on Animal Crossing. And that's also partially why I stopped playing recently because I couldn't connect with a good friend of mine. So some technical difficulties. So I kind of like kept my Switch in a corner for a couple of weeks. But I'm trying to remedy this situation. But I think about it every day, even if I'm not playing. It's just so good. It's so hard to describe. Just play it, Miko. Get it. Be my friend. Be my
Don,
friend,
are you
Miko.
still
Yeah,
watching?
hey, but for those people that can't play it, can you just attempt to
Okay,
explain?
okay. You can cut trees down and
You
mine
can fish
rocks.
though.
Yeah, you can fish. You can catch bugs
Okay,
with your
okay.
friends. You can do all of those with your
Marco, what's
friends.
your favorite activity in the island?
Fishing. Fishing. I love fishing. I
Fishing.
love fishing in
Okay.
any game though.
Hey,
I
that's
don't
what
like
we
it in
Uh,
real life.
isn't that what we used to do in World of Warcraft though?
I was about to say, like, it was the stupidest thing in World of Warcraft, and I never
But it's the
understood it.
best. It's the best.
But
so Iggy from Facebook Live says Animal Crossing New Horizon, yung first Animal Crossing sa Nintendo Switch. Okay,
Yeah,
thanks for
that makes
clarifying.
sense.
because
Jacqueline
yes.
also says there was Wild World, which she played, and then New Leaf. So there. And
So which is
then
the best among the four?
Julio Blanco is saying it's definitely better with friends and their friends of friends. So I guess
Uh,
there's this
I think
whole
that's why this thing
network.
exploded,
and
especially because of
they are saying that Jackie finally caught the dino fish. So congratulations, Jackie.
Dino Fish.
It's so hard to catch that. Apparently, I've never
Oh,
caught it.
congratulations for catching the Dino Fish.
So it's
And
basically you playing your tune and doing whatever you want with friends and and being with them
I wouldn't
virtually.
say doing whatever you want. It's a Nintendo game. It's family
I already have a
friendly.
task.
I
Mario.
guess you can get the Nook Miles. I don't really care about that stuff. I just want to have fun with my friends during quarantine.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
so what else are there what else is there to do? Like you can fish, you can what?
You
What
can
else?
visit your friends' islands,
Cut
and then
down
you can
So can,
steal
trees.
you can cut their trees down.
can you build a house or something? Like,
Yeah, you
do you
can
have
build
a
a house.
dwelling?
I don't really I made a illicit drug room in my house. Yeah, it looks really sketch. I love it. It's great. You can do
Wait,
So
wait.
you
a
just
lot
hang
of
out
things.
in game.
So
Yeah, so
if you
Jackie
cut
says you
down your
can
neighbor's
terraform.
trees,
Oh yeah, that's later on though. That took us forever to get.
wait, so you can
Terraforming?
actually be
Jackie's
a
like a
bad
really
guy?
advanced.
Can
Yeah,
you
I
be a bad guy in
suppose.
this Animal Crossing?
Yeah, if you make me your best friend in Animal Crossing, then I can cut down your trees and do some things that's
And
not polite.
So what kind
and
of a
then
friend would
we won't
that
be
be?
friends anymore.
Yeah, I
There goes my
suppose.
island.
Yeah,
Hang
like
on.
I
So these trees, how do they grow? Do you have to plant them
yes, you have to plant them.
and
So
wait?
it
And
takes time.
you can plant a money tree. How cool is that?
So
You
So
that
can
is
do
this
that
like
in
tree.
a
real life. It's
is this
better.
like
So
a Tamagotchi island?
so
You
It's
just
that
like
tree.
beyond
feed it.
that. That's also the one dimensional.
Wait. So is there like a PvP sort of thing going on as well? Like can you?
No, it's in as far as I know, no. I mean, I guess the most violent thing you can do is like whap them with a net, your friends. That doesn't really do anything.
When I read reviews, actually, that's one of the things that a lot of people like about this. I think that's why it's exploded. Because they get to play with friends, something that they can't do
Mhm.
during the quarantine, and because it's not violent. Like somebody said that he'd rather play this because it's relaxing, it's peaceful compared to I guess fighting and scary games
Yeah.
at,
And
at this time.
this is a Switch exclusive.
Yes. Yeah. It's a Nintendo exclusive, and I would find myself like while loading into a game on the PC, I would pick up my Switch and use that as my segue because I can't keep my mind off it. So it's
So
that great.
does it take over?
What?
So like you said, you boot your PC, you get your Switch. Do you forget about your PC? Is it
No,
that
of
bad?
course
No.
not.
Okay.
I mean, you wouldn't be the fourth fastest PC on in the Philippines if you forgot about your
Uh,
PC.
so
Ooh.
what CPU are you using?
3950X.
Also AMD.
Yeah,
Wait, before we jump into the specs, are we jumping into that mini topic? Is that a mini topic?
it's not even in
Or
the show notes.
No.
so
No, I was
Yan,
trying
Marco,
to
si Kuya
I
may
was trying to
kasalanan
get
kung
Marco,
bakit
I was
nagtatagal
trying to
tayo
get to
dito eh.
Intel.
Marco's trying to slip that
Oh,
into every conversation. By the
I-
way, that he has the fourth fastest PC
single GPU
in the
PC.
Philippines, single GPU PC in the Philippines. So congratulations, Marco. Well done. It's not number one though, but still okay.
Oh well, I'm
Well
number
done.
one small form factor PC. That's something. I mean,
Congrats.
it's
I think last time was
yeah.
number 2.
Okay. Yeah. But I'm segueing to, will I be upgrading to the new Intel 10th gen?
Ah,
Mhm.
So
Intel.
Comet Lake.
That's what I was
Uh,
trying to do.
yeah, I saw what you were
Wala,
doing.
hindi nahuli ni Marco eh.
No, because we were talking about me, and I love me.
Dali na, Intel!
Okay, so Intel will be releasing new chips on May 27. It's the 10th generation of the Core i series. Uh, it's going to be up to 10 cores, 20 threads with 125-watt TDP with a base clock of 3.7 gigahertz and boosting up to 5.3 gigahertz. That's ridiculously high. The said 10 core is the i9-10900K. They really need to do work on these names. They're ridiculous, and it'll retail for $488. And there's also other chips, but the best is always the best, right? It will be
That's
on a
not a
new
bad.
socket, the
Sorry, I was gonna say,
LGA
it's not a bad
1200.
price.
Yeah, it really isn't. But
Yeah.
then if you compare it with the AMD offerings, which has more cores, like I think it's the equivalent in the price bracket as Miguel's CPU, right?
Yes,
Miguel?
it is.
Yeah, the 3900X, and that's a 12 core, 24 thread. So more productivity,
I
allegedly.
guess it really boils down to what you're gonna use them for. If you're just if it's really all mostly gaming, then Intel really has an upper hand. My only
Sure.
issue is if you want to upgrade to these chips, you're gonna have to replace your motherboard. I mean, even if you just bought a uh, what's that, Z390
Yeah, a new Z390.
recently.
It's
Yeah,
obsolete
goodbye.
pretty much.
Yep, yep.
There's no
I
upgrade
think
path.
I think that's where AMD kind of has an upper hand right now.
Yeah.
Even if you have a really old board, if even if you have a B450 and you have Marco's CPU, the 3950X, it's gonna work.
Yeah.
It's not gonna work the way you really want it to.
But it's
Um,
compatible.
it will work. That I
Yeah.
think is a big. And did you see the sorry, I don't think it's in the show notes. I wasn't able to add to the show notes because of something. Um, the AMD released the B550 chipset, and the thing is, if you look at the their the supported CPUs, my golly,
Yeah.
even the really old ones will support the newest CPUs. Except of course,
Exactly.
of course, Threadripper has its own
Socket.
socket. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
Anyway,
I don't even understand why you need to buy a new motherboard since there's really no new features. Like it's all PCIe 3.0. Uh, some boards will have PCIe 4.0, but the chip from Intel itself isn't compatible with 4.0. So it's just maybe Intel will come out with a 4.0 version, and you can upgrade
uh,
to that. But
what I read is that Intel is readying for no need to upgrade your motherboard for the next generation.
I'm gonna just look at their track record and say, prepare
I
your
don't think so.
wallets if you want to stick with Intel.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just judging from the specs of the motherboards with all the new added power regulators, these things are going to be power hungry and they're going to
Yes.
be hot, incredibly hot.
How
The
about how about
125-watt TDP is like way beyond anything in the same mainstream segment as AMD. So it's
clock
kind of
speed?
scary.
In terms of clock speed, they're really the champions. But what do you think of price to performance?
I guess if you're gaming, it's great. But AMD is just so good, well rounded right now that I really can't recommend an Intel machine.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna ask next. Is AMD's been catching up, you know, in a great way. Do you think this is Intel's big response? Do you think that it's enough? I mean, it's obviously the benchmarks aren't out, but do you think there's gonna be enough to really cement again their place? It's like because they've always done this. Like AMD will catch up a little bit, and Intel will flex their financial and might and just stamp AMD down to the ground. It's we've seen it over the years, right? Do you think this is their stomping AMD to the ground again, or
I honestly don't see it because all well, they're all theoretical, but everything I've seen, it's pretty much just a faster ninth gen. It just clock speed. It's just faster, and
Yes.
I really don't see it. And
Um,
especially that AMD is coming out with new chips later this year, which will further just curb stomp Intel. I
that's
feel.
yeah,
that's
I just don't wanna get too technical, but it's clock speed versus IPC.
Yeah.
IPC
and
is
that's
instructions per clock, right? Not so many people understand that, but just because you're running 5 gigahertz and I'm running 4.7 doesn't mean you're faster because I can be doing more instructions per cycle.
Yeah.
So clock speed is no longer the end all be all. It used to be. And then now, aside from IPC, there's the number of threads. Aside from the number of cores,
Mm.
so yeah, it really gets confusing for many buyers today, especially those who aren't really in the know.
Yeah.
Most people aren't. Most people really don't understand these things. Uh, but this is where Intel is has an upper hand. Most people think that the word, if it has the name Intel, that's it.
Yeah.
or a bigger number,
Yeah.
just on plastered on the or just on
Yep.
reviews. But this is really reminiscent of remember way back when like the Athlon days of AMD when they were really also just on pure performance were still kind of hanging in there,
Yes.
and then and
That
then
was
a
about 20 years ago, Ken. That
yeah
is 20.
super long time.
Showing your age there, buddy.
That's right. Reminiscent of that time when AMD kept trying to compete with just clock speed because they couldn't compete with the design or new technology. They just kept trying to up the clock speed, and Intel was building all these new architectures and smaller dies and everything, and then eventually just out engineered AMD. So maybe this is sort of harking back to those days where Intel now is just sticking to their guns, not really innovating, but going with higher clock speed
No.
to try and compete.
Then we have a question from
yeah.
Iggy
Mm. What?
on Facebook. Is it worth upgrading from ninth gen to 10th gen?
I wouldn't
I
say so.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't.
I would say
Well, it
no.
depends. It depends. It depends, of course, if you're upgrading from the bottom tier of the ninth
Yeah.
gen to the upper tier of the 10th gen, then yeah, of course, it's worth it. But if you're
Or you can get a Ryzen.
well, yeah, I would really suggest, especially if you do anything other than gaming, if you do anything that uses more than one core, two cores, three cores, four cores,
Mm.
then I think Ryzen's really the way to go.
Yeah.
Especially, well, I guess Marco, if he's coming from, for example, a 9600 or a 9700, then maybe it could be because it's single threaded, right?
But I know for a fact Iggy has I think a 3600 Ryzen.
Oh,
He's trying to bamboozle us.
Oh,
the
and I didn't
36
understand a thing.
The 3600 is one of the best to
It's
buy.
the sweet spot. It's the sweet
Super
spot
sweet
right
spot.
now.
Yeah, You're not wasting any money with that.
Mm,
But the
okay.
3200 though, that is a gaming heaven. Especially if you don't have so much budget, because you get your four cores, 8 threads, and perfect and super cheap.
Those are the recently released AMD
Yes.
chips. What,
Yes.
like today? I haven't read up on it, so
Yeah.
could you
Super cheap.
expound, Miguel?
No, I can't. Next week. We will next week.
Yeah. Okay. All right. All right.
Yeah. Hey, can I talk a little bit about what the hell happened to me? So
All right. It's
Yeah,
your show.
Sure.
so I was readying for this, right? I was readying for the show. I was done. It was 3 a.m. It was done. I was happy with the setup. I shut down the PC, and then the RGB stuff stayed on when there's not supposed to. And but there is a setting in the BIOS where you can say leave it on even when the computer's off, right? So I thought, hey, maybe I accidentally did something, and so I turned the computer on again to go back to BIOS, and you know those little tiny red LED lights on the motherboard. As soon as I
Yeah.
pressed power, they just died. They died
That's not good.
slowly.
That's not good.
Super. And then so I pressed the power again. Nothing happened. As in zero. Nothing.
Oh my God.
So I turned off the power supply. I waited for it to lose whatever power it had, right? Turned it back on. After maybe, I don't know, 30 seconds, pressed the power, nothing. So, yeah, I was panicking by this point. I was thinking, oh, I'm going to have to call the guys and tell them we're going to have to cancel the show. But, you know, I don't give up that easily. Good thing I have one of the office PCs here. So I used it as my, what's the term? What's the term when you take stuff from it?
A surrogate?
Yeah, I used
Donor?
it basically.
Donor.
Yeah, I used it
Donor.
as the donor PC. So I got the power supply, which is the first thing that probably think of, right? Because of power. So I got the power supply, attached it in a really bad way, basically just hanging in front of my computer. Attached it, pressed the power button, dude. Same exact thing. So okay, it's not the power supply. It's not the power supply cables either. So it's probably the motherboard, right? But of course, I didn't wanna. No, the thing is, the motherboard of that office computer is it's Intel based, so I can't use it. So I removed all of the cables of my motherboard. I removed the RAM. I removed everything I could just to check if it was gonna boot. Press the power, nothing. So I was about to give up, and I don't know why, but that was the moment that I decided to get my phone and go to Google. It should have been the first thing I did, right?
Oh
So I
no.
searched,
Wait,
I
how
searched
long did you
Google.
spend going through everything?
2 hours.
Oh my god.
Oh my God.
So by this time it was 5 a.m. I was about to give up, check my phone, check Google, and then there was the very, very first one. Because I searched for my motherboard. I searched for lights fading, and then upon pressing power. The very first result was a Reddit thread, and the guy said he experienced the exact same thing, and the only thing he had to do after doing everything that I did as well, which was really funny. I guess it's the normal thing to do, right?
Yeah.
All he had to do was take out the stupid little battery. The
And then
203,
replace it?
the
Did you
CR2032.
did you replace the battery, or you just
No,
popped it
you
off and
you
then
pop it
slammed
pop
it
it
And
back
put
in?
it
off,
back.
pop it off. Wait for about 20 seconds. Put it back. Then all of a
So it
sudden,
was
all
Like
the
pretty
lines
much a
like a
came on.
remote,
CMOS
like a
clear.
remote like
Yeah,
a
Yeah, like a
remote.
remote.
yeah. Marco, by the way, I forgot to say that. I also did a CMOS clear. And every time I press that stupid button, all the lights would go. So
So
it
what
wasn't
you're trying
working.
to say here is that Asus is better than Gigabyte.
I don't know. Be.
No, what he's trying to say here is Google your problems first.
Yes.
So does that mean it's a
Like
common
that's
problem because it's the first thing that popped up?
I guess. I guess it's and how does the how does Google work now? Because it used to be the more people link to a site, the more that page goes up, right? But people
Mhm.
gamed that. People started gaming that and messed with Google's
Or
Yeah,
maybe or
the
maybe the
whole
way you
SEO.
SEO
uh
thing. So I guess now I don't know. I don't
or
know how
maybe because you
Google
were very specific.
could be. I was very specific. I really typed my motherboard. Uh, X570
When you guys Google
Taurus
things, do you
Master.
guys write sentences? Because I write
No.
sentences like,
No, I
"How
just
do
I
type.
write
you
sentences,
do
hundred
this?"
percent.
And people
No,
used to
I
make fun of me, especially
no,
Jackie.
I,
Jackie used
No,
to make fun of me. Now she
more
I
doesn't.
just
keywords.
I just type the keywords. I mean,
Yeah.
basically I write it like as if it was the script of what's his name? Star Wars dude.
Uh,
Yoda.
Yoda. Yeah, I type it the way
Baliktad.
Yoda would say it. No, just keywords. I don't need to put all of the unnecessary
no,
words.
but Google is your friend. That's why you
Wait,
had to, ask it the
you know
question
who
politely.
you know who also doesn't really believe in words in general?
Who?
Elon Musk.
I love it.
Oh, ooh. Hang
Great
on.
segue.
Has anyone heard of Elon Musk's baby's name
Mm.
with Canadian singer Grimes? I forgot her real name.
What?
Grimy Grimes?
No, no one's heard. Okay, the name is, and get this, and these are all letters and numbers. Okay, there we go. XAE A12.
Is that
That's the
pronounced
name?
8-12?
That's the name. That's the name.
Why?
Hang on.
What the hell?
Can someone please pronounce this? Like, how is
Yeah,
he
they
going to call his
actually.
kid?
Z12.
Seriously,
Really?
it's
Bob.
Z12?
No,
Bob.
Zaya 12. Zaya 12.
it's just short for Bob. No, it's they actually had a tweet about it. The wife said, yeah, it's XAE A12. I don't know if they're gonna have a nickname for that. Maybe I'm guessing it's gonna be X. I mean, that's
What
what
does
I
it
would do
mean?
if I was. Okay, yeah, here. So the tweet says with the explanation, X is for the unknown variable, and then she put emoji of the crossed swords X, and then the AE is my Elven spelling for AI, which means love and or artificial intelligence. And then A12, and oh my God, Mark is going to love this one. A12 is the precursor to the SR-17, which is their favorite aircraft. No weapons, no defenses, just speed. Great in battle, but non-violent heart. So that is the
Oh my.
explanation from Grimes about why they named their child XAI A12.
Uh,
You know what I can
Nico.
imagine?
wait. I know this is
Nico.
going to be a controversial question, but do we know the gender? Or are we not allowed to
No,
assume that? I don't know anymore.
it's 2020. We can't. There's no gender. I have no
Okay,
idea.
It doesn't
okay.
it
Jokes
doesn't
aside.
say.
Yung bata may tita ba?
You know what suddenly, flashed before my eyes? The skit of Key and Peele,
Mm-hmm.
the professor, when he calls out the different names and he just says it differently. Like Aaron and D Nice and Balake. Kasama to dyan eh.
God.
Exactly.
If I ever have a kid, I'm gonna name my kid 10900K.
Oh my
Intel
god,
i9.
Intel.
I'm gonna name
Mabilis
my
ka.
kid Athlon just because you guys made fun of me for bringing up Athlon from 20 years ago.
Hey, you know my Athlon 64 is still in my closet. That's the only old computer I have left in my
Hey,
house.
that's what got me on the AMD hype train, which I'm still on 20 years after the Athlon. But going back, Miko, I was very interested in this topic because I remember back before we had this long 4-year break on the show that you were pretty every time, literally anytime we'd mention Elon Musk, Miko's that face, like she
No, because he's a
light up.
genius, but now labo, dude.
Yeah, now he's a genius.
Damn.
This is him being a genius.
Okay,
Think
well,
about it.
So what's your take? What's your take, Miko?
I feel bad for the kid. I really do. Like if they say, okay, make sure you spell your name or like what's your real name and whatever. How do you explain that? And then you have to explain how to pronounce it. Or how do you put that in your passport? I don't know.
Hey, Nico, do you want to see the the picture that Elon put on his tweet?
Is this?
Okay.
Oh my
Is it
God! Yes,
is it
please show it.
is it Bastos?
No, it's the picture of the kid. You want to see it?
Okay. What happened?
He
Photoshop
had
cat.
it photoshopped, but that's what he shared.
Mm.
Oh well,
I guess
JR
he likes
on
I guess
YouTube.
he likes Post Malone.
Oh yeah, maybe. Aren't they buddies?
Yeah.
Well, JR on YouTube said he described it on Rogan that it's pronounced Archangel 12. I don't
Really?
see how that's Archangel 12.
Exactly. So that's how everybody's gonna, you know, I don't know, like
So Archie, I guess, is gonna
Yeah,
be the
I mean,
fine,
yeah.
Archie.
Archie's fine.
But there was a naming expert. How do you become a naming expert? But or a name expert? But some expert in the field. Let's just put it at that. Leave it at that. Said basically it fails at the basic function of being a name. A name is supposed to attach to a person and be part of his or her identity and help with living in society, like writing your name down, people calling you. And this one you can't even type it properly because the
Exactly.
AE symbol isn't on our normal English keyboards. So this, he was saying on all counts basically it's a failure of a name and not just what do you call it shame trying to be all or progressive, let's call it, for naming your kids. If you look at the celebrity world, they do like to have these strange names, which is fine, but I guess this naming expert is saying is just went way, and it's not going to be function. It's not going to function well as a name for the kid's life
Yeah.
in the future. So
Maybe
yeah,
if this were like a, you know, like a code or a term of endearment, whatever, but not the real name. Maybe use the Archangel as the real name. Archangel
Angel,
12, fine.
probably
But
Angel. Remove the arc.
yeah,
I'm
I mean,
not. I don't want my parents to call me Archangel. But yes,
Archie nga.
Archie.
Archie.
Archie
But here, all right.
Andrews.
If we would ignore all naming conventions from forever, what would you name your you had another kid coming out in the next month, for example? What would you name that next kid? And
Not as
ignore
fast as the
everything you
fourth
know.
fastest computer kid. That's the name.
Of
Big
course.
Blue.
What was that?
What?
The
Did you say
Big
name.
Big
Blue?
Blue?
Yeah, Big Blue.
Big Blue.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
supercomputer when I was a little
Yeah,
kid.
yeah. Yeah, the one isn't that the computer that did chess or something?
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
thinking the
dude,
same. Yeah.
seriously, I'm never gonna name a kid like that. I mean, no way, man. I mean, I can be geeky sometimes, but I'm not
But
gonna put
It's
I'm not
not the
gonna make
worst
my
name we've
kid.
seen.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna
It's
make my
not
kid
the
suffer
worst name.
for some because I like certain things. You know what I mean?
There
I
was a
guess.
kid named Batman bin Superman, right? Or
How
something
about
like
At
that.
how
least
about
madaling i-spell. At least
how
you can
about
type
ano?
it.
How about
Because
COVID
you're so
Brian?
one-dimensional, Miko.
Whatever. Tamagotchi.
Yeah. Yeah, how about COVID Bryant, di ba?
COVID.
See, that's wrong. That's plenty wrong. That's insensitive.
Yeah, but apparently some person in the Philippines named her kid
Hey,
COVID Bryant.
for all you know, this will start a trend. I mean, I'm sure the first guy named Miguel was like always made fun of because everyone's like, "What the hell type of name is Miguel?" or something like that. Or what's a Miko? Right? I'm sure there had to be an originating thing to our
That's
names. So Archangel
that's the next
12,
thing actually.
yeah, is it?
If
Yeah,
yeah,
and
that's a really good point. Will this start a trend where it's really not non-conformist, like not even with the letters that they use, right? Like, is this gonna will Elon Musk yet again prove that he is a genius, like 20 years down when everyone's named,
Yeah.
I
binary
don't
or
know, dude.
something?
I don't know because I don't know. You know, this is not part of our list of things to discuss because this is pretty old. When I say old, I mean about a week old. Um, he just
Oh, the
tweeted.
tweet.
Yeah, he just tweeted that Tesla's because value is over. It's way over. He said that about his own company, and so because of that tweet, the the value just crashed by 14 billion dollars. And then he said that he was gonna sell all of his possessions, including all of his houses.
Yeah,
So
I thought you were about
yeah.
to say including his child, because
yeah,
that
He's
would
so
be
going to.
messed up.
He
I don't know.
he's had some weird tweets too.
Yeah, because I do understand that people tend to look up to people like him, but then there are limits, right? If you're seeing that there's some person that's really doing well in business and in making electric vehicles normal, which really he did, but then like 2018 he did one stupid tweet that got him into trouble, and then now he's doing it again. I
I
don't think.
think it's some.
Sorry.
Sorry, I don't think it's. I think it's some weird form of like midlife crisis or something. Because if you look at his recent tweets, I haven't looked it up, but
My girlfriend's
he's
mad
had
at
some
me. Yeah,
very strange tweets like recently.
yeah.
Um,
He might be
yeah,
going through
it's strange.
something. He might be going through
Yeah,
something. It seems like it. I, I as being
I'll
Elon
just
Musk,
text him.
does
I'll
he
just
have?
text him, bro. Are you okay?
But being Elon
no,
Musk,
Miko will handle that.
does that give him um special anything with this whole quarantine lockdown thing, or is he also in lockdown? Because the lockdown could really cause issues, right? Depression and whatever. Uh, the and we all know he's such a worker. He likes to constantly work. In fact, he said a few years back that he wanted his workers to work like stupid number of hours per week. So maybe because he's stuck at home, it's
That's
he's
a good
going
theory.
crazy, right? I don't know.
I
Hmm.
actually
It's
like
just
that
a thought.
theory. Yeah.
Um, Kuya, can you check the questions board or comments board? Is there something
Yeah,
in there? Would you be able to flash it?
I'll check. I'll check.
Flash.
Yes, it's here. Let's do that right now.
Okay, let's see.
There
So
you go.
Iggy says that he saw this on Reddit and that um, Elon Musk's I mean, the child's name is actually pronounced as Kyle.
That
Ooh.
that is the most underwhelming name for something so complicated. I'm sorry. I mean,
Thank,
no offense to anyone named Kyle, but that is so underwhelming.
but thanks,
You know
Iggy,
what?
for
It's so
shedding light
close
on
to
this
it. It's so close to ano, Khalil.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Man. Kyle. Okay.
but
Galing
Did
ah.
you
yeah.
know though that one of uh so Elon Musk owns SpaceX, right?
Yes.
Mhm.
Did you know that he banned Zoom
He
from
did.
being used? Yeah.
Well, that's
Elon
funny
Musk has
because
banned Zoom.
recently Zoom just bought Keybase. Its first acquisition, actually, as part of the 90-day plan to fix the security flaws. So, Marco, I just read about this and I want to know your thoughts exactly because I know you're not much into Zoom. So, I was wondering that
Not
now that they've done something like this, is Zoom something now that you would want to consider?
I
So,
mean,
not
mhm.
I
much
would
into. He hates Zoom.
Okay, so anything it does, nothing. Nothing will make
I
you consider
still
Zoom.
wouldn't. I still wouldn't. I wouldn't recommend it either.
Okay.
Because
Mhm.
Keybase has not has as far as I know has never released. I mean, sure they have the whole end-to-end encryption and all that, but Keybase has never released the source code of their servers. So you don't know what their servers are doing. Whether it can be intercepted through their servers or anything, we don't know. That's why open source is good. So people can, dissect the code and study what it does and to make sure it's secure. We
Wait,
don't know this.
who does open source? Among
Uh,
the teleconferencing
I would
apps.
I would say the most secure, well, not teleconferencing, but the most secure messaging right now, I believe, is Signal. That's
Signal.
what the European Union uses. The governments of the European Union recommends Signal because it's the most secure.
Is anyone on it? I mean, among
I use
us,
Signal.
you are. Ken?
Yeah.
Nope, not
Uh,
on Signal.
I've never
I
heard it,
have Zoom though.
honestly.
I've never heard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, Marco,
marketing always
what
wins.
would it take? What would it take for you to recommend Zoom? Like, what
If
do they need
they
to change
if
and improve?
if Zoom gets their servers out of China for once,
I knew
for
it.
one thing. That's I mean, again, not to get political, I just don't trust their government. I wouldn't trust their government with any information. Especially other governments shouldn't trust their information with the Chinese government. Like if they use Zoom as a teleconferencing app, it just doesn't make sense because you're practically just giving it to a foreign power. Everything that you're talking about, you're just giving it to them, and I just don't think it's great. And besides, Zoom has had track records of lying about their end-to-end encryption. Um,
They said
how,
sorry though.
okay. Oh my God, my bleeding heart. But but um, how secure their encryption is, it's all been lies after lies after lies. I mean, who knows if they just bought Keybase just to have that name of basically security, and
Hmm.
then just dump everything. Like we're just buying your name. So
Right
I
now, with what's been happening recently, the reason why we're all stuck at home, right? I would agree with Marco because, yeah, I don't really trust them right now. The servers have to move. If they move the servers out, I don't know, maybe to the Philippines and help the Philippines make some money.
yeah,
Maybe,
exactly.
I mean,
right?
it doesn't matter whose idea. I mean, it's just really because the servers are in China. That's really just
Yes.
it.
Because of how the Chinese government works. If you operate within China, then that means there'll have to be a CCP party member on your board.
Yeah. So
As
basically,
far
Uh,
as I know,
everything.
that's how it works.
Yeah.
we're
Every
gonna get.
so I wonder how Apple is able to operate properly in China. Do you think there's someone from the CCP in it?
Hmm.
Yeah, with
If their
Foxconn,
servers are
hundred
passing through it,
percent.
why not? Yeah, Foxconn definitely.
like
Yeah.
like apparently most, if not all, of the huge companies in China have to have some kind of government involvement, not like outright control, but if you get big enough as a company in China, I think again it's going to get slightly political, but apparently that's how they operate over there. Like the government has some kind of involvement when you get to that size, and that goes to the concern of avoiding China tech for 5G, for example, because like there's news reports of Chinese devices sharing information also with governments who should not be getting that information. And in general, that's sort of their mindset. The government's involved with the business, and they're one, which I guess in a way makes sense if you're China. So I can't really blame them for doing it because it's in their best interest. But for the rest of us, it's not something we'd like, I'd say, in our daily lives. But yeah, it's a legitimate concern, and I would agree. I'd feel more comfortable with Zoom for more sensitive things if their servers were not, or yeah, if they didn't have their servers through China.
So Jackie on YouTube says she thinks WebEx is secure, and then
I
yeah,
think so because it's by Cisco. I mean, they have a reputation to uphold. I mean,
no,
they do
well,
the networking hardware
Cisco
for
is
a
used
lot of.
by too many of the multinational giant corporations, so they have to be secure, and they have to protect their track record.
Yeah,
I've never used WebEx. Anyone here have?
I
I
have
do
not.
have a WebEx account, but nobody wants to talk to me on WebEx. You guys insist on the Skype.
No, there's a reason why we're using Skype right now. It's too complicated to talk
It came
about.
pre-installed with your computer.
No, I had to
And it
uninstall
works.
that one. No, but seriously, right? It comes
Yeah,
pre-installed on Windows, but I had to
yeah.
uninstall that and download the other version and install that. And then Julio, what's his name? You guys know him, right?
JR.
JR.
JR. So JR says China
RJ,
phones
RJ,
are dope.
RJ.
Oh,
His name's
RJ.
RJ.
Okay, RJ says
Ay, nako,
China
JR
phones are
talaga
dope.
yan. Is it?
It's RJ.
Okay. What's happening here? Inside joke. Sorry, guys. So yeah, he says China phones are dope. And then
Yeah,
Jackie says
dope.
she thinks the UN uses WebEx. So yeah, if the UN uses it, then it must be secure.
It's secure enough.
Yeah,
So
I
what's
just
next?
wish more people would think of security more than rather than, I guess, convenience.
No,
No
I think
one's. It's gonna take a long while for that to happen.
Yeah.
yeah, I have honestly reached the point where privacy no longer exists online. If you want, unless you're willing to pay for everything. Many of the services we use are free for a
Yeah.
reason. We have to pay for it somehow, and most of it is through information. Basically, they
Mhm.
want to get our info so they can give us supposedly the ads that match us, and they sell that. They sell that information to
Yeah,
others.
yeah. I think
Yeah,
there's a saying that goes like, if something's for free, then you are the product.
yeah, and
Mhm.
I think Facebook.
That's scary.
We're on Facebook right now. We're streaming this on Facebook, and that's the business model of Facebook. We're also streaming this on Google, on YouTube, which is owned by Google, and that's the business model of Google. So yeah,
Well, we're screwed.
yep.
And you know what? I mean, for those who are maybe considering Zoom because of this keybase, for you to get that service, you have to pay for it. So it's not free for you to get the extra
That makes it
security.
even worse. So basically, everyone else is cattle for them,
Yep.
pretty much.
Oh.
Oh,
Yeah.
we're sorry, but then you're cattle anyway, and you know. Okay, yeah, it's really showing how much I hate Zoom.
So, picks of the week?
I was gonna say, yeah, things that you have to. Speaking of things that are not free, but you have to pay for, but
Do
it's
we have
almost
do we have a
free.
bumper
Stop.
for this?
Stop.
We have a bumper for this.
Oh, we have a bumper.
Ooh,
There we go.
fancy.
Oh, and there's no laman.
Uh-oh.
What do you mean?
There's nothing in there. It's just graphics.
Let me fix it. Whoa, wrong
Oh,
one.
oh, hey.
There you go.
Real quick.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whose is that?
This is
That's
the
yours,
X,
Ken?
That's mine. This is the X56.
No,
HOTAS.
Ken, that's not yours.
Yeah.
I think that's
What do you mean
Dawn's.
it's not mine?
Huh?
Dawn.
Right? That
Is
would
Dawn
be
gonna
so
buy one of
perfect
these?
for
Because he's a
Dawn.
pilot.
Yeah.
What are we even talking about?
Yeah,
It's
Miko,
a joystick and throttle.
Miko, you see that? It says 329. 99.
Okay.
That's
330.
Canadian. So it's
Oh,
250 US.
okay.
Hey, that's not
250
bad.
US. Yeah, for Dawn.
That's
Does it
really
come
not
with
bad.
the rudder?
So it's just a controller.
It's
It's a
not
joystick.
just a controller,
God,
Miko.
lady.
Oh my god.
What do you call
It's
this?
so much more.
I'm not saying it's just a controller.
Oh my
But I'm
golly,
saying
guys!
like
Literally
You,
said just a controller.
guys,
sorry. I
you
mean that's
you
not what
guys
I
have
meant, but
seen
is that the
you
one?
guys have seen
This is it.
Oh. Okay,
okay.
so what does it do?
So
Wait,
wait, you
so
have
what?
it. That's the
I
one.
have it. That's why it's my pick
No,
of the week. I
shoot.
got it. Yeah.
Dude,
Wait, sorry, who's
talk
your
about
friend
it.
on YouTube? JR or
RJ,
RJ?
RJ, it's RJ.
RJ. Huwag ka na magalit. I
Dude,
didn't
that's
mean
huge.
I
It's
didn't
That's what
mean it that
massive,
way.
and I
What you
love
said.
this thing.
Sorry.
It is my favorite. And the throttle part because of all the toggles, which I love these buttons.
Wow.
They're like toggles, and there's so many of them, and it's pricey for a joystick. There are obviously way more expensive ones, but I really highly recommend this set if you are at all into space sims, flight sims, whatever kind of that kind of sim. I do recommend it a lot. I can't go really into detail because we're running out of time. But if you have any questions about the X56, mention in the comments and I will answer as best I can. But yeah, it's got basically 60 buttons per setup, and there's three modes, so it's like 180 buttons in total.
Wow.
You won't run out of inputs at all, or buttons for any game. Like we're heavy into Star Citizen at the moment, and this has been a dream for that game. So that's so 250 US. There's a slightly cheaper version. I think it's like 180, 190, which is the X52 Pro, and another really solid joystick set is the Thrustmaster T1600. You can get them with dual stick mode. You can get them with the stick and the throttle, and you can also buy a version with the pedals, the rudder pedals. So that was probably the best value, the Thrustmaster T1600. But any of those three that I mentioned will serve you really well. So that's my one of my picks of the week. I have a second one very quickly. COD World War II is 67% off on Steam right now. I just bought it last night. I think in it's something like $20, so it's like 700, 800, 900, 1,000 pesos at the moment. Pretty solid World War II COD game.
What's COD? Call of Duty?
Yep.
Call of Duty
Call of
World War
Cash on
II.
delivery.
Oh,
Cash on delivery World War II. It's sort of
67% off.
yeah.
Wow.
It reminds me of the first couple Call of Duties, which really I loved when it came out in like 2003 or whatever it was. Remember D-Day and the beach of wherever it was, Normandy.
Yes.
Totally
So
remember.
it's going back. It's going
Back
back to
in my
that
day.
kind of era. And I saw a couple. I already have it. I haven't installed it yet because it's like requires 97 gigabytes, which is ridiculous. But maybe next week I'll talk about it more. Even though it's an older game, but it is on sale at the moment on Steam. So check it out if you're into World War II games. And that's it for my picks of the week.
My pick of the week is Mad Cat Midnight because it has me in
Alright.
it. Me.
So what's your
Ah,
role there,
it
Marco?
doesn't just
I-
have you; it has us.
Yeah, I know, but
Look,
it has
it's
me
all
as
of us.
well.
It's
Oh, hey,
Oh
what's
yeah,
going
we're
on? Oh,
there.
it's being shared. Oh, hey, hi guys.
Hey,
Shout
thank
out.
you.
Yeah, we still don't have a schedule, so just follow us on Facebook, which I do not have.
Ang
That
labo
makes
mag-plug
sense.
nito.
But that
Hi
yeah,
Iggy,
everyone
hi
seriously have
Johnjo, hi Dennis.
a look. I was watching last night and it was very interesting, very fun to watch with John Joe's obviously a very good host for that, and Marco is a great addition to that.
I was
Nice.
drunk.
Does that make
Hey.
things better?
I guess. I don't know.
so I
Being in
have
front of a camera is
I have a pick too, but it's not in our list.
Yung mga secret picks
No, there's a
or
problem with my
secret
pick
stuff.
though.
Diyan nagpapahaba ng ng
No,
show.
the reason why it's not in the list is because it's not yet available. But it's my pick anyway. And I only thought of it now because Ken mentioned the joystick. And
Mhm.
I am super excited for this. In fact, I already told your husband, Miko, to teach me how to fly planes because
I think he showed me this.
because when this comes out, I am definitely
It's
going to get it.
really, really nice. Yeah, he showed me.
And
Wow,
this
that
is
looks great.
Wow.
this is the actual game. It's that's not just a a screen, what do you call that, like the
Pre-render.
video. Yeah, it's not. This is the actual game running. Look at how beautiful that is.
Just to
You know-
add to that, I hear they added layers of wind. Like as you climb altitude, the wind shifts and all that. That's pretty fucking cool.
It's very
Wow.
realistic nga daw.
Mm.
And you need VR for that. Like, imagine that in VR. Okay, you don't need VR, but like, it's gonna be mind blowing if you
Mm.
play it with VR and any of the sticks that I mentioned.
So
Can
yeah,
you be
so-
like a passenger? Just wear VR and be a passenger.
yeah. So you
I
mentioned
miss
VR.
traveling.
Yeah, you mentioned VR. Look at this. The pilot is basically looking to the right, right? That's the wing. He can
Yeah.
see the wing. So
Yes.
I guess with VR it would really make so much more sense because I don't know. Are you gonna move your mouse to move
Oh,
your
there's
head without the VR?
track IR or webcam.
Track IR is what you will use if you don't have VR. It's still not the cheapest, but it's cheaper than a full on VR set.
Yeah. Track IR.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nico knows all about the track IR.
Yeah. So, anyway, yeah, Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. I'm super excited. I don't know how to fly planes, but I would really want to learn how to, just for the game.
That's cool. It's really, really nice.
I will find you wherever you fly and crash into you, Miguel. That's you
That
can
does not
count on
sound
me.
very sweet.
Yeah, that's a question I have though. I mean, I know it's really beautiful and all, and I'm really excited to play. But I have a feeling after my first takeoff, and then I realized that I have to fly 2 hours straight just to get to where I need to land. I'm not sure I'm gonna be that excited anymore. Especially if
That's when you
Right?
set the autopilot and then walk and have dinner or something.
Yeah. I mean, I wish we had a pilot who would tell us if they do anything during the long, boring straightaways.
So I would
Is there a
I would think
pilot watching?
I would think Captain would be sleeping
Yeah.
during those times, and first what they call it, Migo? First,
Officer.
yeah,
Second.
first officer would probably also be sleeping if there's second officer on board, right? That would probably that's probably how it works, and yeah. Now, I'm not saying that their work is easy. Promise you, I don't think it is. And the thing is, every time I get scared, on board, I just try to remember that my sister's husband does this for a living, and he's okay, so I should be okay. Yeah.
You're not
I'm
alone. Somebody
I
told Dawn the same, that because she knows someone who flies planes, it should be okay.
Yeah, that's seriously. I have this strange fear of flying. I don't
Huh?
know how many people have it, but I do. But and so every time I get scared, I just try to remember that I have friends. I have friends who do this for a living, and so if they're okay, they've been doing it for years and years and years, then I should be
That actually kind of scares me more.
okay.
Mine,
Who's flying the plane? Si
mine has
Captain ano
always
daw.
been the whole. It's statistically the safest way to travel. That's whenever I have any kind of fear, like if it's a bumpy takeoff or whatever or turbulence. I'm like, no, this is the safest. This is the safest. Stop freaking out. Like you get in your car almost every day, and that's super dangerous. Like this is fine.
I actually
So
like it when the
that's
flight's
what.
bumpy. It's fine.
Now I do. Now I do.
Why?
Now I don't give a
But
shit. But before
I don't like it when it's too calm because you're thinking like, you know what?
Something's gonna happen.
Something's gonna happen. Yeah, exactly.
But because it's bumpy, it's like you're in there. So like this
Yeah,
is it. Come at
you
me.
know what's happening. You know what's happening, and you're prepared. But when it's calm, it's like, oh my God,
Any
something's gonna
minute
come
now.
out of like
Yeah,
the cloud, like a
but when
UFO, something like
it's
that.
bumpy, I always just hope that it's almost done. You know, the bumpiness, because that means the bad part of the flight is done, and it'll be smooth sailing after. That's how I think.
the real fear now, for me in travel, is having unpleasant neighbors in the plane, delays and cancellations during layovers.
Oh
And
wow,
Miko
yeah.
can attest to that. I actually have two stories that I know of Miko troubles with travel. One was here; she almost got left behind in Vancouver, and the other was I think it was your Hong Kong experience, which was pretty fun. So
I don't
Miko's
re-
not had the
oh
best of luck.
I was like, I don't remember.
I'm
Oh
never flying
yeah.
with you, Miko.
How can you forget your Hong Kong experience?
That's for
Anyways,
like next time.
yeah.
I think my biggest fear of flying is if my neighbor coughs. Eh,
Oh, you mean today?
COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
the most random, the
Well, you
most
can't be
random
neighbors
meme I saw.
anymore. You have to be really far away from each other.
The most random meme I saw recently was crazy how we used to think it was okay to eat cake, birthday cake, when someone just blew on that cake from their
Yeah.
mouth. It's
Oh
like
yeah.
that
You're like,
is
yep.
kind of right now after
Uh.
COVID. If
Way to
with a
ruin
birthday
my
cake, if
childhood,
someone blew
Ken.
on it, I'd be like, I'm not gonna eat that.
Yeah,
Oh my
you're
God,
right.
that's awful, dude.
It's ruined birthdays now, birthday
It's
cakes.
just,
So like,
I'm
is
never
someone gonna
eating
bring
cake
out
again.
like a fan and just make pie pie to kill the?
Pay-pay na lang. Uy, bagong idea yun.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Crazy times.
Yeah. You know what? Before we close, because it was mentioned, I just want to show this real quick. I think this is so cool. It has nothing to do with, maybe a little bit of technology, but not so much. It's actually pushing it. What's that, Marco?
It's a pro controller.
The Switch. Oh,
It's huge. Anyway, yeah, this. Look at that. I think it's cool, right? That's the PPE of Philippine Airlines.
Oh,
oh yeah,
That's
Looks
really
really
cool.
good. Yeah.
very
looks really
appropriate. Yeah.
that's nice.
It looks like we're in a Middle Eastern country or something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
At
everything's
least it's
covered.
it looks quite stylish, right? Compared to the these. I like these ones.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like they put some
all of
thought
the
into it
stripes.
rather
Yeah,
than just put any PPE on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I quite like it.
Actually, Marco has a photo he took recently that looks kind of like that, but
Yeah,
might
yeah,
be too-
because Peds gave me a face mask. I didn't send that
So
picture,
yeah,
so it's not gonna be shown.
I think I
All
saw
right.
that.
I
Yeah,
think
well, I think
we're good.
I think we survived.
that about wraps it up.
Yep. Thank you so much
this
for watching,
week.
guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Hey, somebody do the outro.
I'm about to already have it like loaded up. Don't have to say that every week. I'll do it. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Join us on all our social media: Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. It's all
It's not
PHTech
working.
official. It's not working. What do you mean it's not working? Am
My
I
thing
lagging?
isn't working again.
The
Hey,
bug's
just
not working
go ahead.
again.
Yeah, the bug's not working again.
Oh no.
Go. Just continue.
But yeah, PHTech official again. Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. I'm there for updates on schedule. Who knows? It might change, but looks like we're gonna stick to a Friday night schedule. Yeah, join us for more tech news and random things next week. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks.
All right.
Good night.
Thanks, guys.
Good night and
Bye.
good morning. Bye.
Oh, bye.
Whoa. What's that?
I don't
That's
know.
wrong.
Are we still on?
We're still on.
Yeah, we're still on. Okay, bye.
Bye.
I was about to pick my
Bye.
nose. Ooh, that's fancy.
That is fancy.